Emmy-nominated American Morning, CNN, weekdays 6 Eastern.
Is your boss a bully? And should that behavior be considered illegal? New York may become the first state to outlaw workplace bullying. The state Senate has passed a bill that would allow workers to sue their bosses for medical expenses and lost wages for emotional stress. 16 other states are considering similar legislation. We have a guest in today. Adam Cohen joins us now. He's a lawyer and a Time.com contributor. Thank you so much for being here this morning with us.
Good to be here, Sarah.
Okay, so everyone loves to trash their boss every now and then. It just feels good. But why is this law important now? What's happening in the workplace that made legislators think that this is important to put this out there?
Well, people have been working on this for a while, and New York State was a big victory. But there is a feeling that particularly right now, the workplace is becoming more of a jungle. Some of it is the economy, some of it is the decline of unions. But there's a sense that that bosses are getting away with a lot more than they used to.
Isn't there already, though, federal protections? There's labor laws in place for things like hostile work environment. Why did they need an extra law to go into place?
Well, the laws we have now are very limited. If there's racial harassment or religious or gender, if you fall into certain categories, you're protected. But general harassment, just your boss standing in front of you and screaming at you for 5 minutes or writing evaluations that are completely untrue, other sorts of things, not protected right now.
As far as that goes, these things are often very difficult to prove. And there are a lot of people that are going to be worrying about, especially employers, obviously, frivolous lawsuits, people who just don't like their boss and don't like being told what to do. And so they decide, okay, how can I get them back? And they file a suit.
That's right. And clearly employers have a right to have a disciplined workforce and to make sure that the job gets done. This is about conduct that goes beyond that. As I say, there really are a lot of cases of bosses just screaming at a worker for 5 minutes, writing evaluations they know are not true, or just bullying someone. There are bosses who really, in some cases, actually have psychological problems. And right now, there's not much a worker can do about that. If you go to HR, HR is not on the worker's side. They're on the boss's side.
Do you think this is going to change, considering that, change the way that business is done in the workplace, change the way that corporations operate? What more can be done? A lot of people have these seminars and they put you through all this different kind of training in the workplace to deal with colleagues and with bosses. Will this change the way business is performed?
I think it will. It sends a signal that there could be lawsuits down the road. And you don't necessarily need a lawsuit. When employers begin to see that potentially a bullied employee can bring a lawsuit, get, in New York State, if this law passes, punitive damages, could be tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it will lead employers to actually, check out their own backyard, see what's going on, see that HR gets on the case, because they don't want this to go to litigation. So ideally, this will lead to more self-policing than is going on right now.
Okay. What about vagueness? Some people have talked about that some of these laws may be quite vague, and what constitutes bullying as opposed to somebody getting angry with poor work performance, for example? Yeah,
no, it's a fair point, but that's true in any kind of employment law. When you talk about harassment, what exactly is sexual harassment? What is racial harassment? There are always line-drawing problems, definitional problems, but it would fit neatly into those categories. The juries are able to see when a boss or a workplace has gone past a line.
Do you think this is going to gum up the courts, though? I mean, obviously, anybody can throw a lawsuit out there, and the courts are already having a difficulty dealing with the number of cases they have already.
True, but courts are actually pretty good at dismissing frivolous lawsuits. They don't get very far. So I think that this will actually be managed well by the court system. And the cases that are really extreme, really harassment that leads workers to, in some cases, have, very serious disabilities because they're just so abused at the workplace, ideally, these cases will be resolved properly.